This happens. I feel like I have this hand a lot where I just have like one of the basics. I don't have access to a color of mana. Unfortunately. How do we feel about this hand on 6 cards against Yorion? Yeah, I didn't change anything to the list. I've been liking it. Let's keep this. I'm gonna put back the second Unmarked Grave. I think I've got better 5s. Yeah, I think I have better 5s, but I think that this is better than the average 5. You know what I mean? And playing against Yorion, their deck's likely to be pretty slow. Yeah, we definitely have better 5s, but I think this is better than the average 5. Yeah, so like I was thinking about the list a little bit, right? And I was thinking this morning that I would like to go +1 Mulldrifter, +1 land somehow. And I just stared at it all this morning. I couldn't figure out how to make it work. I think like you could. I really like the second rights. I really like the fourth grave. Those are probably what you would have to cut. And I feel like I'd rather have the deck built this way than with the extra Mulldrifter and extra land. But I even like briefly considered just playing 62. Then decided that was probably dumb. But yeah, I didn't see Dune last night. Esther, like me and Esther like both had a late night 2 nights ago. And oh, it's Kiki Chord? Awesome. Sorry, their main deck Endurance is a problem. They have a lot of Solitudes. Yeah, I don't know how this matchup is. Probably not that good. Oh, okay. Well, poggers. That's the kind of luck we're gonna need today. Just like having Ephemerate up to protect from Solitude is so sick here. Yeah, so like we had a late night 2 nights ago, and then I took a nap after the stream, and then she was still finishing work, and then she took like a 4-hour nap, and we were just like both so tired we didn't want to leave the house. Well, this is pretty good. I think the chat is not it's like syncing up all like at like every minute. I don't know what's going on. Maybe not. Fury. Okay, so Fury pitching Ragavan means that it's not exactly the Kiki Chord list. She floated above the mattress during naps or regular sleeps. It usually happens on a full moon. Modern is now Ephemerate the format, I suppose. Ephemerate the format. Let's go. Okay, so I'm gonna bring in Serra's Emissary for sure. I think. I don't know. Let's see. Well, they're playing the Wall of Omens is kind of throwing me off. Because Wall of Omens would make me think Kiki Core, because I don't think the 4-color like expressive iteration piles play it. But they're also playing Fury. I think I'm still gonna bring in the Emissary. And then if they are Kiki Chord, then their graveyard hate is going to be like Endurance, Sanctifier in Vec. So, I mean, I guess Prismatic Ending is probably going to be fine no matter what. So I usually cut the 4th Archon when I bring in Emissary. I do think I want the 4th Ending. I might want the 4th Teferi on the play. I'm not sure if I want it on the draw. They messed up there. If the stack evoke lasts, they win that exchange. No, because the Fury only deals 4 damage and the Archon was a 5/5. But they probably should have stacked it that way. Like that was better to stack it, but I'd stack it that way. But I don't know that I'd say that they would win that exchange. I guess Teferi is really good against Endurance. Maybe we'll play the 4th Teferi, 3 Griefs. Card disadvantage seems rough for Sky Noodle. That's kind of the idea behind this deck, is that you don't care about the card advantage that much. Because when you get to reanimate, it's worth so many cards. But I'm going to try this. Hopefully we figure out exactly what's going on over there. Attempt to take the Shota Eternal Command deck from 2020 and update it. Do you think it'd be good or behind the times? Some say we just have Ephemerate, but using Vials. You never have to tap out. Thoughts? So, I actually very recently was thinking that in that kind of deck, instead of playing Aether Vial to use to cheat on extra mana, you should just play Wilderness Reclamation. And that way you get to do your Eternal Witness Cryptic Command thing and use Wilderness Reclamation to give you your extra mana for your loops rather than Aether Vial. So also like Ephemerate plus Eternal Witness plus Cryptic is kind of like the same thing as, you know, one Cryptic plus Vial, Cryptic plus Vial plus Witness, but Ephemerate's a stronger card overall. I'm gonna be playtesting that deck idea a lot this weekend. I didn't end up I ended up like I think starting to playtest it on like Sunday or Monday, and it did feel fine, but it did also kind of feel like just another Yorion pile. We've been playing a lot of those lately, so I wanted before I stream this deck, I want to like test it some more. But the deck's also using Eldarmer's Call, which is an instant speed tutor with Wreck, and you have a lot of good tutor targets here. Right, I think I'm going to Prismatic Ending that Utopia Sprawl. Yeah, seeing Utopia Sprawl makes me think that they're more of the control deck, so I guess I'm happy I've got a double Teferi Time Raveler hand. Yeah, that's the only time that's ever happened, Majora. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. Yeah, I think I'm just going to put a Archon in the yard and set up 2 top deck and Persist again. If they have Graveyard Hate, obviously they get, you know, like a 2 for 1, but we're also set up to untap and cast Teferi, which is kind of nice. Would a Yorion variant of this Reanimator deck work? Because I killed the consistency. Yeah, like this deck really thrives. Like this deck, you know, is really good when it can reanimate an Archon on turn 3, or have like Grief Ephemerates. It has like a lot of nut draws, and so like adding 20 extra cards and like reducing that consistency, I don't think it makes a lot of sense. That being said, like I did think about registering 62 cards today and playing like 62 or 63 and either playing 22 or 23 lands in the 4th Mulldrifter, but decided against it. Ooh, Endurance. Kind of brutal. Let's get a Teferi down, though. I think I'm going to bounce the Endurance. With Teferi and play, the Endurance is a lot worse. And I can Solitude it, too. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out exactly what's going on. The Utopia Sprawl is throwing me off with all these walls, because usually these decks don't play Sprawl. Oh, so usually like Kiki Core doesn't play Sprawl, but the control deck doesn't play all these walls, right? Maybe they do now. Okay, so that turns off my Ephemerate Rebound, or Ephemerating with Solitude on the stack, unfortunately. At least for the time being. Okay, so I can exile that with Solitude. See if they have a fetch land here to have like a double spell turn. They bounce their Wall of Omens, and then they play the fetch land. I wonder if they drew that off the Teferi. It's another Ephemerate, etc. deck. Yeah, but figuring out which flavor, like if this is like more of like the control variant, or if this is more of, if this is Kiki Chord. Like if Kiki Chord is not going to play Rest in Peace. But the control Yorion piles, they like usually do play Rest in Peace. So I'm not sure like if how much this is even going to impact my sideboarding, but that's what I'm thinking about here. So then his Endurance, Windswept Teeth, 4 mystery cards. Let's just Solitude the Omnath here. See how bad this next turn is for us. Storm the Festival, Saheeli. Yeah, Storm the Festival is a card I've been starting to look at a little bit more. Seems not probably very good, but it could be. The fact that this flashback makes me kind of want to play it in like a mono green Devotion Shell, but that's probably pretty bad. All right, they Solitude my Solitude. They cast Ragavan. Okay. Well, you know, Can go pretty nuts with Mending, but it's probably what's going to have to happen here. I mean, could just cast the Grief. Let's cast the Mending. Let's go for the high roll here. We discard Marsh Flats, Grief, and then let's bounce the Ragavan. I know that losing the Teferi here isn't necessarily ideal. Man, because of their Teferi, I can't ephemerate my Mulldrifter either. So I'm going to just play my second Teferi, cycle it this turn, bounce the Sprawl, and not be in generally any good shape here. Teferi, bounce, Grief Ephemerate. The problem with Grief Ephemerate is like it's just not very. I mean, like the Ephemerate does like, you know, you get the front half, but then the Teferi stops the rebound. That could have been the better line. Teferi, bounce, Ephemerate, Grief seemed the better play. I mean, this was like the much higher upside play, and I feel like we're really behind on cards here. So trying to play like the discard plan with Grief didn't seem like a very good option to me when we're so behind on cards. That being said, now they have their endurance up, so I think Grief can take Teferi after bounce. What does that mean? You can't bounce the Teferi. Their Teferi's going to be in play, stopping my rebound. Yes, I feel we've got 7 lands now. I think this is going to be one of those try to start hard casting some Archons kind of games. I mean, Thoughtcast is a pretty good card, right? Then we can Grief their Yorion too. Or Grief the Endurance. Maybe both. Maybe both. I can persist the other Grief next turn. I can go like Unmarked Grave, Persist. Or Persist, Grief, Unmarked Grave, Persist. But we're probably gonna take the Yorion with this, and then Persist, Grief, or they'll cast Grief maybe. Take the Endurance. They have 2 Endurance. Okay. Oh my gosh, what a hand. And an Eternal Witness. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I guess the plan is going to be instead play Teferi, Time Raveler next turn. Non-Exotic Llama, 8 months, thank you so much. Do I just have to take Yorion? They can Eternal Witness and Yorion if I take Yorion. How is their hand 7 spells when they have Ren and 6 in play too? Barf. I don't think we can beat this hand as board. I mean, our hand's very strong too. Let's not just concede. I think I have to take the Witness. Have I tested Jeskai Prowess? It's weird that they've cut Morphos. Cutting Morphos is probably wrong, but I haven't tested it, no. I've tried to build some Prowess decks recently, though. I'm gonna block here. My Ephemerates aren't rebounding. And, like, if they cast Yorion, they get to exile the Mulldrifter anyways, so... I declare our hand is 3 Graveyard Spells for 2 Endurance. Well, I can play Teferi, and then they can't Endurance. I get to reanimate something next turn. I get to go Teferi, then they can't Endurance my graveyard, and then I get to go Unmarked Grave, Persist. Like, the problem is, of course, Serra's Emissary. I'm not saying it's, likely that we're going to win this game, but it's just, I don't feel like I'm in a bad enough position to concede. Now I've got another Unmarked Grave, Persist. Yeah, the Archon trigger, the problem is, of course, it just doesn't do all that much against the Teferi. I guess I'm pretty close to just recasting it, though. They got an Omnath. Simply bounce the Teferi. I guess we also like kind of set up to have a similar turn next turn. All right. I guess I'm just gonna Ephemerate to get an Archon trigger. I don't think the Ephemerate's getting like much better than this with Teferi in play. Why not plus induce combat Teferi Time Raveler Simon? Simon Teferi Time Raveler. Okay, so if I plus my Teferi's dying. I don't think I want to bounce the Endurance. I think I'm just gonna be re-hard casting this next turn. I'll just bounce the Ragavan. Not a bad turn. Not a bad turn. We're still like, you know, we're still in the frying pan. We're not even into the fire yet. Their hand is Endurance, another copy of Teferi Time Raveler, Omnath, and Yorion, and mystery card, and another mystery card. But we do get to just hardcast the Archons more. You know, definitely could win this game. Copium. So they left a fetch land in play, so they actually get to kill my Teferi with the Omnath trigger and deal me 4 and then attack me for 3. Yeah, you're good, Simon. You're good. I can't be mad at everybody who forgets it's a fairy. I'd be mad at the whole chat. Oh yeah, I forgot about the Ragavan. Okay. There's so much to navigate here. These are 3 of the cards. What? Why? Why are they doing this? What am I missing? They endurance their own graveyard. Okay, but that's to get like the witness back in there? Okay, can they cast Grief? Grief would have been a pretty good draw for us. I don't think they have a second black source. Why did they cast the Endurance there? This must be bait. This must just be bait. Their hand is Yorion, Teferi Time Raveler, 2 mystery cards. They must have a way to flicker Endurance. They also like are about to Rin Ultimate though. Yeah, they must have like a 3rd Endurance or something. They sack the Rin in 6. There is also Ragavan, so it's 2 mystery cards. I keep forgetting about the Ragavan. But, you know, can they don't have a Teferi minus anymore. We might actually get to attack with this. Yeah, they have Ephemerate in the deck for sure. Thank you, Alan. Okay, Teferi is really good because this plays around another Endurance trigger. Teferi is really good because we can go Teferi, then they can't Endurance this again. Chord of Calling. So they are Kiki Chord. They chord for Eternal Witness, I'm assuming. We might be dead here. They can chord for 1, 2, 3, 4. Get Resto, Flicker. Yeah, I think we're dead to the Kiki combo. So they're Kiki Chord, but they're also playing Teferi and Ren. Yeah, we're definitely dead. I'm just going to make them go for it, though. Oh, yeah, they do have another Teferi. I forgot about that one, too. I don't know. There's just so much going on. Too much going on. I'm going to make him show me the combo, though. Okay, so I'm definitely bringing in... seeing multiple Endurances. I'm definitely going to bring in the 4th Teferi, right? Oh, I already did bring in the 4th Teferi. I feel like I've got too many Prismatic Endings. I probably want access to some. Exiles opposing Teferis. I'm gonna play the 4th Grief. Grief is also a way to play around Endurance. Their deck also seems kind of soft to Grief Ephemerate. We have Solitude for opposing creatures. Let's submit this. If I don't want to buy 4, 1, and 6, should I play 4 color instead of Teamer? Teferi and Ending would be the white cards. For what deck? Because there's like a few different Teamer decks. Which Teamer deck? King of Limbs to give the 4 months. Appreciate you. Spider's also playing Reanimator. Very cool. Good luck to you too. I think close, but no cigar. We have both endings in our opening hand too. Gonna go to 5. And I guess I'm keeping this, and then I'm gonna put back. Opponent's also on the 6. I'm gonna put back Ephemerate. It is great for Archon, great for Rites, and hope that the top of my library is kind to me. My opponent kept 6. I'm gonna do Yorion Teamer Wreck. Not sure if to do them 4 color. I mean, like one kind of awkward thing is like Ren makes your 4 color mana a bit better because it gives you like your land drops to hit. I would maybe play if you're gonna do Teamer and you just want to replace the Ren, I would maybe just play Expressive Iteration in that spot instead. Hammer, thank you for 21 months. Appreciate you. Interesting. Alright, just get an Archon in the yard, see what they do. Any consideration going to 4? I don't know. I think this is a fine keep. There's probably some consideration, but this hand seems like it's pretty likely to reanimate an Archon on turn 4, and you know could also top deck Persist. I think this is a lot better than like most 4-card hands, but maybe not better than like 2 lands, Unmarked Grave, Persist. Weird, weird turn. All right, Persist off the top. It's a very time Raveler, it's not too bad. Pretty sure we're just plussing. I could bounce the Sprawl that's on red, and then they'd have to use the treasure to dash the Ragavan. That could be good too. I mean, if they dash Ragavan to attack Teferi, that's just not that good of an exchange for them. Yeah, bounce Temple Garden, that would be a good line. Ponza feels underplayed. Sounds like the desire to pillage that Temple Garden is really high. Maybe you're right, though. Maybe you're right. Do you think Yasharn is a modern playable card? It's very much fringe playable. I think that, and it's also going to be like a somewhat metagame dependent card, but it is something to keep in the back of your mind. Wall of Blossoms. No, please. I don't have Vindicate in the deck, but I would love for Vindicate to just get teleported to the top of my library somehow. They just cast Ragavan. The old-fashioned way. Okay, I think I'm just going to bounce the Ragavans, then see what I draw. Alright, pretty good one. Oh, man. Top decking Persistence is just always so key. Ephemerate? A little bit greedy to ask for, I guess. Grief would also be good. Or, that's also very good. Genesis would really wreck a lot of modern decks right now. IDK why Ponza doesn't play it. I mean, I think the Ponza decks are generally underexplored, but I will say that that kind of question, right? Like, I think Trinisphere is really good in Ponza. Why? I don't know why Ponza's not playing it. Those kind of questions or those kind of thoughts tend to lead to good, like, to good brews or good innovation or good tech, right? I would say that, like, most of my deck building starts with a thought like that. So I would encourage you to maybe try it if you think that's the case. Wait, why did they name green twice with these sprawls? That doesn't make almost any sense to not name blue with one of these. Yeah, where's my Ghost Quarter? Cast Ragavan. They can cord for 3 if that's like why. they've done this. Then they can get Deputy of Detention. I think Deputy is like the only thing, yeah. But I can go Teferi, bounce Deputy, trigger Deputy, and they don't have red mana. I can also just draw a land, maybe. Didn't draw the land. Yeah, I guess we're just gonna bounce the Deputy. And if they Deputy the Archon again, it's not like that big a deal, probably. They don't have any blue mana still. Then there's the land. I can persist on my grave next turn. They sack the Ragavan. We draw another card. Game is looking pretty good here. Yeah, them not naming blue with a sprawl looks like it's pretty costly. Yeah, their hand is Deputy of Detention mystery card. They can cast Aladomri's Call and get Solitude. Yeah, Solitude, pitch Solitude. Put Yorion in their hand, then pitch the Solitude. Okay. Fine line. I'm pretty sure I'm just going to plus Teferi pass. Instant speed these things. Kind of hard to imagine losing from this spot. Yeah, the Ashen Rider that a lot of people keep suggesting though does sound pretty good right about now, huh? The Ashen Rider that everybody suggests. It's maybe never looked better. Oh, they did pitch the Deputy. Okay, I missed that. I thought they pitched the Yorion. But in response to the trigger, we get to make them discard their last card and sack the Yorion. And probably concede. Alright, off to a 1-0 start in the challenge. Ever misses your Soul Rider deck? I've been playing it again lately, Freedmania. I've been playing, like, I'm just calling it Kiki Core now, and I've cut Avalanche Riders from the deck. But I've been playing it again. I'm gonna mulligan this hand in the challenge. Let's go ahead and finish the draft real quick. Take the right, well, I would play the Welder, but I don't think we can really cast it. So we have 27. We need to make 2 cuts here. Oh, so I want to cut the Palinchron, probably the Seal. Then, not sure about the ratio of islands and swamps. Okay, so my opponent is on the play. If I knew that Solitude was just amazing in this matchup, I would keep. But they didn't reveal Luris, so like if they revealed Luris, maybe I would keep that hand. And this one, let's go ahead and keep this, and then I guess I'll put back Mulldrifter, Archon of Cruelty, not to be super happy. Sword seems meh. Maybe. We could think more about it. It does seem like it's got maybe that one's maybe a bit too fair, but Sword gets a lot better with interesting. Sword gets a lot better with the Mishra's Workshop. Turok was a house. Yeah, I've been really liking Turok. Okay. Well, I don't really know what's going on, but I think I'd like to have that Solitude 6-card hand back. Jeez. I should have got a White Source, sorry. Yeah, it could be an artifact deck with Sentinel and 3-Red Inspector. Alright, let's go. Yeah, we're in the 1-0 bracket. Remember that we can exile Sentinel with Solitude before we cast the Ephemerate, so we can exile Sentinel, Solitude, Ephemerate, and Flagstones, and not let them draw a card. Thanks, Mana Symbol. This is brought back? Maybe. Sentinel seems a bit weird and brought back. Have you seen any burn decks? I've seen some burn decks in my time, yeah. Their burn's actually pretty good in the metagame right now, I would say. Yeah, the Flagstones does make it look like brought back. All right, so we gotta stack this right. Yeah. Oh, yes, the 3-bit Inspector. They get it with the Sentinel, or they get the Inspector and Sentinel with the Ranger Captain. Very cool. So if they have their own Solitude, things get like a little awkward. Not that bad. Oh no, I meant to pitch the ending. No, I meant to pitch ending and not Teferi. I don't know how that happened. Damn it. It's fine. It's fine. Persist the Mulldrifter. I was gonna bounce my Solitude. They Ghost Quarter me. Oh, they're gonna brought back their Ghost Quarters. Huh. Wait, they didn't brought back the Ghost Quarters. I guess I'm gonna main phase Mending. Now that I drew an Archon. Alright, feeling pretty good here. Will I play Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2? I used to play one of those back in the day. I can't remember which one. But I will not. 6 mana. 5 mana. Okay. What happened to the overlay? Oh, I switched to the draft. The draft overlay. Because we're drafting some Vintage Cube. Thank you. Alright, they're out of cards. Been winning on a lot of Mold of 5s recently. Against the brought back deck. Leyline does beat brought back. Probably not worth bringing in. Let me take a look at the list. Did we break it? I don't know. This deck is really powerful, but just like every Reanimator deck, it's a little high variance, and it also is soft to hate. I did write a deck highlight on the brought back deck this week. Feels like a long time ago. Yeah, they were playing Nile Spellbomb in their sideboard, so let's get these in here. Also stops their clue tokens. Wait, Cathedral Sanctifier? This is not 1 mana, gain 3 life, right? No way! Cathedral, that card used to see like a little bit of play in like the standard format I started in. I can't believe it. Also playing Ragavan. Alright, so I guess I want the 4th ending too. Do I feel like I want Grief very much? Oh, it also looks like this version can't beat a... It looks like this version can't beat a Serra's Emissary either. Yeah, it looks like they can't beat an Emissary. So let's sideboard something like this. This is also good against their Ephemerates. Oh, hold on. Maybe I'll play the Force... I mean, Ephemerate Solitude seemed really good there, but... I do like to cut an Ephemerate when I cut like the Griefs or the Solitudes usually. Why Stony Silence? We saw a non-clue artifact. Their deck list, the common deck list plays artifact-based graveyard hate. The list had Nile Spellbomb and then a Triumph to get for it, and so especially them playing brought back makes them want to play artifact-based graveyard hate, and when that's the case, I'll play the first. Nah, I'll just do this. And when that's the case, when their graveyard hate is just artifacts, I like to play Stony Silence so that I can just spend 2 mana to say your graveyard hate has no power here. What matchups do I like? Seize. I like it against Combo big mana control, usually. Esper Sentinel's so good. But it did mold to 6, though. Man, Sentinel's so freaking good. Okay, we can Stony Silence that glue token. Let's see, get the Godless Shrine. I might end up Solituding Sentinel, then Prismatic Ending one this turn. I think that's the line here. Oh, whoops. Yeah, hopefully they do something with their mana this turn besides correct the clue so we can Stony Silence the clue. Obviously not a big deal. They might not even respond to the Stony Silence with the token if we cast it, though. It can be kind of easy to forget about. Alright, good play, good play. Wildfire their Flagstones, ramping a bit. This deck can Hammer Bill for FNM, seen as will see Tron, Control Burn, which is tough for LE. Let's just get an Archon in the yard here. I think I want to get Archon and not Emissary. I mean, Emissary is also good against Sanctifier, in fact. Alright, let's get the Emissary. Looking at the list, it didn't seem like they could beat it. I mean, also if they have Sanctifier somehow. And I'm wrong about the Stony Silence. This is a good hedge too. Why I missed it? They're a brought back deck, and so their graveyard hate is like either Nile Spellbomb or Soulguide Lantern, most likely. And the most common brought back list plays like the list that did well recently was playing Nile Spellbomb and a Triumph to splash it. So we're in matchups where this is what they play, where they're on artifact based graveyard hate, I bring in Stony Silence. And then it's just 2 mana, your artifact hate, your graveyard hate just doesn't work, which is really valuable. And it also, you know, sadly wasn't in here in time to beat the Inspectors. Easy first, Amulet Tide, no game 3s are played, awesome. Yeah, I feel like Amulet's like way better than people have been saying it is. I think I'm main phasing this to, because if I draw Concealed Courtyard, I can play that tapped. Mr. Land still, but we did gain 2 life, which undoes an attack. They only have 2 cards in their hand. They're flooded pretty badly. Yeah, and Holy Heat being down definitely makes Titan a lot better. Did you text the guy with the game tracker being off? Nah. Is it still off? I speak to your manager, MTG bot. The tracker has been down. I'm a Spike. Fix it right now. Their deck looks awful so far. I mean, they're super flooded. They're super flooded. It's easy for any deck to look awful. Okay, well, Grim Lavamancer is a weird one post board. Although I do think Grim Lavamancer means they're not playing the stock list. But I do think a Solitude is like... A Solitude feels like somewhat likely to be in their hands, so I'm just gonna get the Emissary here. I feel like there's a decent chance they can't beat this. They have to have Path to Exile in their deck, which isn't that common right now. 2-0, let's go. Pretty exciting stuff. Pretty exciting. Let's check in with some other people real quick. Doomix 1-0. Ozymandias is 1-0. Kihira the Orphan Guard revealed. Gonna go to 5. Won a lot of Mold to 5 so far this tournament. Not a very good hand, though. I think I'm going to keep. If they're like blue-white control, this hand is Garbo. I mean, obviously, like, these kind of hands just get to top deck Persist sometimes. Right. Putting the rights in the yard, pass back. Challenge reset. The record breaker is wrong, but it's right now. Round 3, game 1, up a game. But for whatever reason, MTG bot thinks I'm also in like some non-existent modern challenge where I'm like perpetually stuck in game 2. It's a bit weird. Opponent definitely has some counter magic. Just like this is like really not the matchup to Moldify in. I'm pretty happy if they counter this, so we'll see what happens. Yeah. Okay. I would have loved to keep the Ephemerate in the hand too, but I don't think we had that luxury. Why Stony? There's a lot of decks that rely on like Nile Spellbomb and Soul Guide Lantern as their graveyard hate. And just like Stony Silence is really good just to say 2 mana. You have no graveyard hate in this matchup anymore. And then also Stony Silence like those matchups also like play Bobble usually. Stony Silence is good against Tron. It's good against you can bring it in against Hammer, but it's not great. But it also stops their graveyard hate most of the time. Comes in a few other matchups. But it's been really good for me so far. I don't hate drawing Grief here. Let me just evoke this though. Why do you let's not use the one Triumph as the regular list? Well, I mean, I don't know that there is a regular list necessarily of Reanimator. I know that Spider Space's list, second Persist. Okay, we might win this game. I know that that's what Spider Space's list does, but I hate the Triumph, to be honest with you. I think that Prismatic Ending for 4 comes up less often than the Triumph being a tap land is like horrible for you, in my opinion and experience. I would rather like not have a tapped Dimir Guild Gate in my deck that occasionally lets me ending for 4 than have the ability to ending for 4. So you're almost always citing in Stony? I mean, almost always I think is an exaggeration, but I'm citing it in really often. Okay, I think I'm going to just try to fight through my opponent's removal, or at least like, let's just like cast the rights here. I know that I can grief pitching the rights, but if they just have 2 counter spells, that line's not all that good. And then I kind of want to like just hard cast the rights and have that be a 2-for-1. I might hard cast Grief next turn. We'll see what we draw. Yeah, you have Teferi the Time Raveler decks to bounce the Leyline of the Void too. So like I find that not to be like that relevant either. Yeah, let's just keep trying to fight through these counter spells. And then if I draw a black card next turn, I'll probably pitch the Grief. Memory Delusion response, okay. It is a bit awkward for us if they exile the Archon, but we do have the Mulldrifter in the yard to reanimate too. Hi, Mariana. Welcome to the stream. Okay, they did let it resolve. Discard Mystic Gate. Them getting to resolve 2 Memory Deluges, though, is pretty scary. Speaking of scary, there's a scary Teferi. Tapped Colonnade. Can I really pitch a Persist here? I don't think so. I think I just have to Teferi. Like, it's so likely that they have 2 counterspells. They've resolved 2 Deluges. Then let's just cast the Teferi, make them use a counterspell, and then we get to Persist. Oh wait, what am I? Right, we needed to Mending. I don't know. I feel like this is still fine. I guess I'll just persist Mulldrifter. I could have maybe persisted Mulldrifter first and then tried to resolve Teferi. I wonder if that was good. Okay, let's just pass back. How does this matchup feel? I feel like blue-white's a little bit favored. I mean, we also multiplied this game, which is like game one, like you really have to win because, like, I think you're a little favored game one, and then they're favored post board with the rest in pieces. Has been my experience, but winning game one is really important. I feel. Yeah, if they just have 2 counters, this is gonna be tough for us. All right, let me cast Mending from the hand first. If they counter this, I can flashback, then persist. So I can go Grief, pitch the second Archon, and then see what they have. If they have a counter spell, I probably just Prismatic Ending. I don't know, I'm pretty dead. Yeah, I don't maybe I just can't beat a second counter spell. I feel like they just are. It's so hard for them to not have 2 counters here. Okay. Guess their hand was pretty bad. How terrible would Boseiju be in the list? It's actually kind of interesting choice. I don't hate the thought. Probably a sideboard card. Yeah, this is so incredibly lucky. No way! We drew the second Ephemerate to respond to the Solitude hardcast? No freaking way! 2 free for the bean, huh? 2 free for the bean. I guess hold on. They might Chalice on one first. If they Chalice on one, I guess I should have cast the Ephemerate my turn to play around that. Yeah. So I guess I'm gonna Ephemerate the Mulldrifter in response. Because they have the Solitude. Do I have another Archon in the graveyard? I don't. I've got 2. I got 1 in exile because I pitched it to Grief. I can exile this, and I do have rights in the yard, and we're really ahead. It does kind of stick out that I can't, you know, draw a million cards off this. Now let's start off by exiling this. Does my basic planes untap? Anything untapped when I'm casting Ending? Nope. We're good to go here. So I got Unmarked Grave for another Archon, but I don't have enough mana to Rites it here. So I guess I'm going to flashback Mending first. And then I guess we're going to go discard Flooded Strand, Mending, get an Archon in the yard. It's a bit bad that they hit us with the Solitude, but it shouldn't be that big a deal. Yeah, I'm also really happy that Mulldrifter is just a good modern card. Castle Ardenvale. And then main phase Flashback Deluge. Okay, so now I just never get to rebound an Ephemerate. Sad, sad, sad. Poor Spike. Am I just hard casting? I should get this Teferi into play. Teferi plus Teferi. And then I guess I should do this now because I don't want them to make a token. I don't want them to make a token or activate Colonnade to save their Solitude because them getting the life is really what matters here. And I should have left up white in case I draw Ephemerate, drew the other white spell. We get to put them to 1 life, and then, you know, I think this game is pretty over. Discard Spreading Seas. This was a mold of 5. We got really lucky that my opponent just didn't have any counter spells that one turn. We could have beaten one counter spell, but it just felt so likely that they had two after casting 2 copies of Deluge and casting and brainstorming with Jace. Okay, we're up a game. Feels great. Because I mentioned this a bit earlier, but in this matchup, winning game 1 is really important because I think you are favored game 1, but then games 2 and 3, they get to bring in like a bunch of rest in pieces. They get to cut their prismatic endings. Their deck just becomes much more efficient. So I think that this is my sideboard plan. Endings for rest in peace, 4 Thoughtseize, trim Ephemerate when we cut the Solitudes. I was thinking about playing the 4th Mulldrifter in the board. I also kind of wanted to find room for it in the main, but I couldn't figure it out. Yeah, I can't believe we got there either after that Mull to 5. We've been winning on a lot of Mull to 5s today, and I think this is a really good teaching moment that this deck wants to mulligan super aggressively. They didn't attack Teferi with Colonnade. Yeah, I mean, they maybe trying to make a castle token instead, but didn't matter that much. Sounds really good. Got the Grief Ephemerate combo on 7 cards. This Force Solitude a newish thing. I've been doing it all week. I don't know if other people have really built a deck like this, but this list is really inspired by like a lot of different variants, of course, like Guillaume's innovation with Mulldrifter, the Abzan Ephemerate version that's been popping up and that I played against in the PTQ last week, and I've been liking it a lot. Why not play a Seacrim Source with Dark Swords? This deck is we're playing Concealed Courtyard instead. All of our 1-mana spells are either black or white because we have Ephemerate on turn 1, we have Prismatic Ending on turn 1, we have Thoughtseize Fatal Push. So why would you play one of those fast lands instead? Looking a little too free for the bean, chat. Good grief, huh? And it's Colonnade, Mystery card. They can also put Kihira in their hands. Kihira, good discard fodder. No, I can't believe it! Can we save some luck, please? Can we save a little bit of luck for a later game here, huh? They discarded the Colonnade, which means they have Solitude in their hands, which I can ephemerate. They have to have Solitude in their hand, right? Or maybe they're going to draw 2 Solitude. Maybe their last card might be a counterspell, and if that's the case, we do get to continue to play Magic. Okay, we continue to play Magic. We continue to play Magic. That's not a bad draw at all, though. They have no cards in their hand. Our hand's really strong. Yeah, it still does feel a little too free for the bean. Guess I'm gonna start off by persisting Mulldrifter. Great way to start any turn. Guess we'll just play the Courtyard. And I'm probably not gonna cast the Mending here. We'll see. Yeah, definitely not casting it now. They have no cards in hand, so not casting the Thoughtseize. Yeah, I've talked about this a lot. Like, a lot of times your opponent just casts Rest in Peace, and you just cast a Mulldrifter. So if they draw exactly Verdict, we're still playing Magic. Alright, 3-0 in the challenge. Really exciting. Doomake still playing. Wait, is Doomake playing against Canister? Keepable hand in the challenge. Keepable hand in the challenge. I should probably just concede this. I have to play the rest of the match. Yeah, it's just... Yeah, we're 3-0 in the challenge. Let's not... I did not get enough sleep to double queue, I think. They revealed Luris. What happens if you Scarab Lord a Grist? I don't know. It's probably really weird. Any judges in the chat know what happens when you Scarab got a Grist? I was yielded till the end step. I can't believe. Come on! No, I'm gonna be fuming. I'm gonna be fuming if I get Thoughtseized here. I'm gonna be absolutely fuming. Okay. It feels bad that I have to use the ending there, but at least we don't just lose. Oh my gosh. That was almost like so tilting. It's so hard not to get got by that because I just play so much Magic online. Yielding till end of turn just saves you so much time over the course of your life. I'll discard Grief Mulldrifter. Oh no, I meant to discard Mulldrifter. Huh. Because they're gonna get Graveyard Heat here. I wanted to discard Mulldrifter and persist it. I guess I'm just gonna cast Grief. They withdraw land, we get to just start casting Mulldrifters. They have a Nile Spellbomb in their hand. Okay, I'll take that. I don't really care so much if they Unholy Heat this. Though that might be their only Nile Spellbomb too. That might be their only Nile Spellbomb. And if that's the case, then they just can't fight their Graveyard Hate. They're main decking 2 Nile Spellbombs. Gross. And they drew Thoughtseize. I'm blocking here. Like I should have a Prismatic Ending. I don't know. Let's move on. Their draw's been pretty good. Get back their Saga. They have Overgrown Tomb in their hand too. Attack me down to 2. I can persist and force them to pop their Spellbomb without drawing a card. And then I guess I'm gonna Mending as well. I discard Grief Archon. And then we're 2 lands away from hard casting the Archon. I could have kept the Grief, potentially. I think this has the higher upside. Thank you, Kerbros. Comes back as a token Planeswalker and it's only black. Interesting. Did you Tarmogoyf? It's pretty good. Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to draw like something, some nutty series of draws. Okay, now Solitude is a pretty good pickup. Yeah, Solitude is probably our best draw here. Yeah, this is the first game of this match. They had 2 main deck Nile Spellbombs, which is a big headache. Like, if they didn't have the second main deck Spellbomb, like, we're in really good shape this game. It's kind of hard to, you know, not get got by that. Alright, game 2. Stony Silence, though, is our hedge against all these main deck Spellbombs, or Spellbombs in general. Yeah, this matchup is like a big part of the reason why I have Stony Silence in the sideboard. I think I'll play 1 push over the 4th Ephemerate. They have like 3 or 4 spell bombs post board usually. Probably 3. Yeah, the Needle on Marsh Flats was like such a tilter. I don't know. I don't know. This is what it is. No Leyline. No, you don't want Leyline against them. Leyline is not good against Jund Saga. They run Moon? No, they have Luris. No, they have Luris. Okay, mulligan this. Keep this hand. I guess we put back Solitude. They've also mulliganed to 6. Well, not F6 this time. Or yield to end of turn. Alright, this hand really needs to draw land. If we like draw a land, evoke Mulldrifter, and to evoke Mulldrifter, Ephemerate Mulldrifter, we're in really good shape. Yeah, the record tracker is a bit messed up. It's accurate right now, but for whatever reason, like there's a non-existent tournament that it thinks I'm in at the moment. Let's not fetch. Yeah, I bring in Stony Silence against Hammer. They also have artifact-based graveyard hate. Yeah, you bring it in against them. But it's not 2 mana win the game. But there's a big difference between not being 2 mana win the game and not being worth a sideboard card. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's not just because Stony Silence is not 2 mana win the game against Hammer Time doesn't mean you don't cite it then. Alright. Finally found the land. Could potentially come out ahead here, but the Luris is going to be tricky to beat for sure. Is Kataki worse than Stony Silence? Yes, Stony Silence is really important because it stops Nile Spellbomb from being graveyard hate against you. That's why we're playing it, like largely for this matchup. Kataki, it's like you can't persist Kataki, but that's not like why we want a sideboard card like that. Yeah, I really feel like my opponent has removal for my Mulldrifter, so I'm just gonna exile the Luris there. Okay, we're not doing so bad. Not doing so bad. Let's get the Watery Grave. I really think if I ephemerate the Mulldrifter, there's like no chance that it survives here. Yeah, I'll just let the evoke happen, and then I can hardcast Mulldrifter. But I can also use the Unburial Rites next turn on Mulldrifter, which is probably a bit better because they're gonna get a spellbomb off the Saga in 2 turns. So they're gonna take my Ephemerate. Probably they might take the Teferi. I get Teferi bounce the Saga maybe. I'm not really too worried about the tokens. Like the Solitude maybe. Maybe. Yeah, I think I'm almost definitely just gonna Rites the Mulldrifter here. Let's see what we draw. Yeah, but Rites on Mulldrifter means that we can force them to pop the Spellbomb next turn, or maybe they'll main phase it, but we get this value, and then we can just hardcast Mulldrifter next turn. And then like we have, this is also like a big part of the reason why Mulldrifter is good. If you just like cast a bunch of Mulldrifters, it gets you like the cards you need to get up to 8 mana to just start hard casting Archons. Then I guess I'm just gonna get a tapped dual land. No wait, no, this is dumb. This is dumb. Like there's just no way they don't get Nile Spellbomb. It's fine though. Doesn't matter which dual land we get. Yeah, their hand seems to be mostly removal and potentially lands. Can't really be anything else. It's a lot of damage. I might play Solitude this next turn. Solitude, exile, try to block. I can also Prismatic Ending Denial Spellbomb if I really want to. Okay. They didn't escalate, so they probably don't have a land in their hand. It's probably 2 removal spells. They take the Ephemerate. So we can hardcast top decked Archons. Let me just go exile a token with the ending, hardcast the Solitude this turn, and then Mulldrifter next turn. And nope. If they crack the Spellbomb here, I'm pretty happy. We'll just get the Spellbomb out of the field. If they terminate, or if they kill the Solitude, that's fine. We'll get a nice 2-for-1 off of it. Gets untapped with Mulldrifter. And what's great about this spot is we have 4 Archon of Cruelty in the deck, right? And we have 8 lands, and so our top decks are just very strong. We've really made a great comeback here. We were super behind. We've drawn very well for the last, like, 6 turns. 5 turns. They put the Cliffs in the yard, and then I guess they're thinking about immediately cracking the Spellbomb. Because they know I have this Mulldrifter, so they, like, I think they are, like, interested in trying to draw Thoughtseize. Yeah, let's just cast this Mulldrifter. Don't think I need to Solitude right now. I do want to play my 8th land because of Archon. I'll hold this one to discard to Mending, though. Yeah, Mulldrifter is the MVP. And they prop the Spellbomb, which is okay with me. They have 4 cards in their hand. Man, Crooks is so good. Oh no, they get to immediately escape the Crooksha, and I don't get to Solitude it. Okay, well, we have a lot of good top decks. A lot of good top decks here. Yeah, definitely a great game. That's a removal spell, and I really think they have a removal spell. Yeah, it's really hard to beat 2 main deck Nile Spellbombs. Although we might have been able to if they didn't needle my Marsh Flats. But we're 3-1. Still have the rest of this tournament. 3 more rounds. Till top 8. I can keep this hand. Okay, they are playing Kihira now. Have I seen Dune yet? No, I might see it tonight. We'll see. We'll see, hopefully. I'm trying to go in with, like, no expectations at all. Gotta see the tickets early. I mean, if it's sold out, I'm not that worried about it. I have like you know, Sunday that I'm, you know, not doing very much. I could see it tomorrow too. All right, I think we're gonna hardcast some Solitudes this game, or some Griefs this game. This turn, I'm gonna evoke the Mulldrifter. This turn, I'm just gonna evoke the Mulldrifter. Not gonna evoke Grief here. We beat Blue White Control earlier today. It does feel like an okay matchup. Okay, we do have a second black source for the Grief. This probably trades for a counterspell, and then if they untap into Teferi Hero, we're in big trouble. If we can't find Persist. But if they don't play Teferi Hero, we just get to keep hardcasting Griefs, and then maybe we're gonna be fine. No land, okay. Get through those counter spells. I know flashing back the Mending is the higher upside play. Oh no, I should have. I guess I could chuck the Fountain in. I meant to hold up the white source. Gonna draw step Ephemerate. Take the Chalice. They'll probably verdict my grief away, so I don't get to rebound the Ephemerate. And then we're gonna have 3 looks at a Persist or 1 look at an Unburial Rites. I guess we also draw Rites and just discard it and then flash it back. And I guess I'm gonna fetch to Thin, because if we break this turn, it's gonna be really hard to win. 2 more looks, Persist or Unburial Rites. Okay. Now they do have 1 card that we don't know about, and I'm gonna keep the 8th land for Hardcast Archon. If that 1 card is a counterspell, we lose. Nope. So we get to kill Teferi, draw a card, make them discard probably the Prismatic Ending. They can verdict my Archon, so it's not like this just wins the game. Their hand is 2 verdicts mystery card, right? But it's always nice to get up to 8 lands in this deck and just you can hardcast any Archons you draw. Okay, that was one of the mystery cards. Not a bad draw. Alright, let's draw step Ephemerate the Grief. I've talked about this a little bit, but in this matchup, it is really important to win game 1. Because they get really favored post board. Alright, so we're not gonna Ephemerate. Just get to start attacking. They could have put Kihira into play. We get an Archon. Top like this because we can play the planes and have access to all of our colors. Alright, they concede. Kind of an early concession, I don't know. Like I would have taken the draw there for sure. A draw step for sure there. Yeah, but like I said, winning game 1 here is really important. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut the Solitudes, bring in the Thoughtseizes, and then I usually cut the 4th Ephemerate because I cut the Solitudes and I bring in the 4th Teferi. And this has been my sideboard plan. Oh no, I also want this 4th Ending. And then I kind of waffle back between cutting the 4th Grave and the first Archon. But I think I should cut the 4th Grave just because Grave is kind of bad against Rest in Peace. Thank you, Gucci. I've been liking this deck a lot too. I think we drew and hard cast all 4 copies of Grief that game. Yeah, I like this deck a lot better than the Chalice version, but of course the Chalice of the Void version will be probably better in some meta games. Just not this one, I think. It's like feels so powerful with bad matchups to have. I think it's bad against like the top decks. Jund Saga feels not very good. But really it's like if you're drawing well with this deck, it's really hard to feel like you're like particularly bad against anything. But this deck is a little inconsistent and it is weak to a lot of graveyard hate. And like it's, Jund Saga's a bad matchup because they apparently main deck multiple Nihil spell bombs that they can tutor for with Saga. And their deck's also just so efficient. Okay, I don't love this hand. I'm going to keep this and put back the Grave, though. I'm going to keep 7. I want to try and triple draw with my first 3 matches running versus blue-white and the iOS version. Is this much better without counters? The blue-white control matchup does feel a little bit better, like specifically with the griefs, but I don't know. It's still like a pretty close matchup. I wouldn't recommend playing this deck specifically to beat blue-white control. Yeah, we won the first game. Okay, I'm not gonna Mending in response here. I'm gonna wait. Well, kind of happy with this. Is record tracker not working? It's really weird. It thinks that I'm in some kind of phantom, not phantom, but it thinks I'm in an event that isn't happening. It thinks I'm playing in a modern challenge, another modern challenge it started yesterday. I'm just like in this phantom modern challenge, and I'm up a game in match number 1. It's really weird. I don't know why it's like that. But it might like there might be an error that's like exclusive only to me. I don't know if it's if you'll experience it too, Fran. How's this deck against Stoneforge decks? Pretty good, I would say. Alright, let's main phase Mending. Awesome. Discard Archon and Ending probably. It's pretty bad if they have Rest in Peace, but I'm probably gonna pitch the Grief. Yeah. This is the way. Please no Fairy Macabre. Fairy Macabre is so sick against Teferi. Yeah. I'm sure. I'm not super worried about it. I'm sure it'll get fixed eventually. Main phase Mending. Well, I'm saying main phase Mending as opposed to taking a different line, like Prismatic Ending. Two Solitudes. I guess I'll take the Rest in Peace. If they go to Teferi minus, it's actually a big problem. I think I have to take the Rest in Peace, though. Their hand's really good. They maybe go like Teferi pitch Solitude, too. But I do have, I can go... I have a Teferi in play that they can't interact with, and I can go Mending, Archon into Yard, and Rites it. Right, they go for the Solitude. Oh, Solitude kills my Teferi. Right. So I can flashback Rites on the Grief to block the Solitude. And I think I should do this in combat. I think I should do this to not lose my Teferi, and I think I should do it in combat because I'm pretty sure they're gonna go to combat before they play anything. And I can take the Teferi. But if I play the Rites first and they can Solitude my Grief, they can Solitude my Grief and then kill my Teferi. They drew Shark Typhoon. But I want to take that Teferi. And then they can make a 4/4 Typhoon that's capable of killing my Teferi. They can also hardcast the Typhoon, but Cycle seems way better. Alright, let's just hardcast this. If I draw a White Source, I can block the Shark and then Ephemerate. And if I don't, I'll probably just bounce the Mulldrifter with Teferi. Yeah, let's just do that. They could have Solituded in response. They didn't. Maybe they should have. Their hand is Typhoon, Supreme Verdict, Mystery card. Or no, Mystery card. They played the turn. But then they'll have 2 new cards here. Things are going pretty well here. me down to 18. Didn't want to plus the Teferi and jump with the Mulldrifter. The problem with that is if they solitude my Mulldrifter, then they get to kill my Teferi. I don't get to draw the card off the Teferi. I mean, I can go Unmarked Grave for Archon Flashback Rites, but I think I'm just gonna cast Mulldrifter. Cool. And then they might Solitude my Mulldrifter end of turn. I'll Ephemerate in response. I don't want to main phase Ephemerate and get Solituded. Let's freaking go. The value. Now I get to discard Archon of Cruelty to hand size. Jeez. Not gonna block. And his Verdict, 3 mystery cards. Rest in Peace would be bad, but we do have Prismatic Ending. Okay, Spreading Seas doesn't matter. Let me draw 2. Seems good to start with the Thoughtseize here. Counterspell, Archmage's Charm, Typhoon, number 2. So I'll take the Archmage's Charm. And then I can either grief away the counterspell, or I can just trade Persist for counterspell. I think I'm just kind of gonna do that. No, that doesn't seem better. Yeah, I think grief is better. I can maybe take the Typhoon. Yeah, but they have the Verdict, so yeah, this has got to be better. Then they'll probably cycle Typhoon in response. They don't. Guess they'll just discard the Typhoon. Yeah. And then we can Persist the Grief to take their Verdict. All right. 4-1. Feeling pretty good. 2 more rounds. We might be locked for top 8 if we win the next one. And we might have to win both. But until then, we can just relax and...